Hello and welcome to the Commander's Quarters, your Magic the Gathering source that helps you command your budget. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all their support. And also, the Search for the Ancient Bauble Kickstarter has launched, so make sure you go check that out. The Kickstarter campaign will last for 30 days, and after that, the playmat will no longer be available for purchase. Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander's Quarters studio. Welcome to the show. So, spoiler season for today is coming to a close, and I finally finished my second cup of coffee, which I very much needed because I could not get back to sleep thanks to Lonus Crypto Clueologist. And yes, I said Clueologist intentionally. Regardless, since that episode came out early this morning, I've worked on quite a few other episodes today, including one on Void Mirror. On this episode, I asked the question, should this little 2-mana artifact be banned in Commander? And then on my most recent episode, I talked about a brand new, very powerful, new Mardu Elder Dragon. And now that you're thinking about an Elder Dragon, I want you to think about the creature type that is furthest from this. I'll give you a couple seconds to think it over. In fact, feel free to comment below with your choice. Okay? Got it? Alright, did you come up with Monkey Pirate? Well, regardless if you came up with Monkey Pirate or something completely different, let's jump into it. And before we jump into the Monkey Pirate Commander, a big thank you to Eddie. Eddie has been a fantastic resource and sounding board for these episodes. And as always, as I like to say, if I make any mistakes on this episode or any other episode, you can always feel free to blame Eddie, because it's always Eddie's fault, most definitely. Just kidding, but seriously. Anyways, let's go on to the Monkey Pirate itself, Ragavan Nimble Pilferer. Ragavan is a 2/1 for a red that has, when it deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token and exile the top card of that player's library. Until end of turn, you may cast that card. On top of that, it's got a dash cost of 1 in a red, so basically you can cast a spell for its dash cost. If you do, it gains haste and is returned from the battlefield to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. So Ragavan is in the very exclusive club of 1-mana commanders, because there really aren't that many of them. According to Scryfall, it looks like there's about 11 of them, so yeah, not too many. And again, if that's incorrect, blame Eddie. Regardless, yeah, you can get this down on turn 1, and that is fantastic because it can provide you a lot of value. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, it provides you temporary ramp and temporary card advantage. That's absolutely huge, especially on a 1-mana commander that you can just get out and then start swinging with. Chances are at least one of your opponents is going to have a blocker for quite some time, so yeah, you can just keep getting through and getting a lot of value out of this right out of the gate. You can utilize those treasures to really put you ahead of your opponents, and you can utilize their own cards to, well, punish them with their own cards. Oh, what's that? That's a soul ring off the top? Yeah, I'll take that, and I'll use my treasure that I also got from hitting you to cast it. That sounds like a lot of fun. Now, obviously, at a certain point, your opponents are going to get blockers out, but of course, you're going to be prepared for that as well. So now let's talk about some cards to help Ragavan get through and be even more effective. First off, let's talk about Cliffhaven Kitesail, Trailblazer's Boots, and Prowler's Helm. And actually, the more I think about this, it's actually really funny picturing this cute little monkey pirate starting to, get on a kite sail, put on some boots, and put on a helm. It's a really cute image. Anyways, back to the cards. Cliffhaven Kitesail says, when it enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control, and equip creature as flying. So yeah, giving our cute little monkey pirate flying is usually going to be enough to get it through on pretty much any opponent. And then Trailblazer's Boots is nearly guaranteed to get it through on at least one opponent in a game of Commander because it says equipped creature has non-basic land walk. So as long as one of our opponents has a non-basic land, it's going to be getting through. And if everyone's running basics, well, good for you. Everyone should be running more basics as it is. And yet another card that's pretty much guaranteed to get the monkey through is Prowler's Helm. It says equipped creature can't be blocked except by walls. So unless you're going up against Arcades the Strategist, Pran Sky Rampart, and Doran the Siege Tower, you're probably good to go. Yeah, walls aren't typically seen in Commander outside of certain decks. Regardless, again, by guaranteeing that our commander gets through, we are guaranteeing temporary ramp and temporary card advantage, both of which are crucial in Commander. And then we've actually got a legendary creature that can help us get our little monkey through with Subira. Subira has pay 1, another target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn. So unless Ragavan is being pumped by something, we can get it through with this. On top of that, if we want to, we can pay 1 in a red and tap her to discard our hand, and until end of turn, whenever a creature you control with power 2 or less deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So if we want to ditch our hand for a card or a few if we're getting more through, then we can. And then protection is also a way that can help us get our commander through with something like Sanctuary Blade. When it becomes attached to a creature we choose a color, then the equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has protection from the last chosen color. So this can protect our commander from spells and help it get through as well. An even better piece of equipment though is Commander's Plate, which unfortunately is getting really expensive. It gives +3/+3 in protection from each color that's not in your commander's color identity, so yeah, everything but red. And speaking of expensive, of course, any of these swords in the sword cycle, including the new one, Sword of Hearth and Home, can really help out as well. Each of them give +2/+2 in protection from 2 colors, and on top of that, they also have a combat damage trigger, which is going to be 2 benefits depending on the sword. But again, most swords are quite expensive, but still, I figured I'd mention them here. So let's cleanse the palette a little bit from those expensive cards and talk about a much more affordable piece of equipment with Fire Shrieker. Fire Shrieker is a very simple piece of equipment, giving Double Strike. And by giving our Monkey Pirate Commander Double Strike, we get that combat trigger twice. So that's 2 treasures and 2 cards off the top of our opponent's library, which is fantastic. So of course we can include some other things that help out as well with Double Strike with Blood Mist and Berserker's Onslaught. Blood Mist says at the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gains Double Strike until end of turn. And then Berserker's Onslaught says attacking creatures you control have Double Strike. So this one can help out all of our attacking creatures and not just our commander. And of course with this Double Strike, if we are pumping our commander with other effects, well, our commander is going to hit even harder. But we can also get even more value out of the hit with things like Goldvein Pick, Mask of Memory, and Quietest Spike. Goldvein Pick gives equipped creature +1/+1, and it says whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. So now instead of getting just 1 treasure on hit, we get 2. So yeah, again with Double Strike, that would be what, 4? That's a lot of temporary mana for us to use. And then there's Mask of Memory, which says whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may draw 2 cards. If you do, discard a card. So this can really help us with card advantage and card selection. We can essentially replace a dead card in our hand and go up 1 card as well. And then Quietest Spike can be an especially deadly card. It says equipped creature has Death Touch, and whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses half their life rounded up. Now this card is great on our commander on its own, but if our commander also has Double Strike, well, this thing is a lot better. First off, our commander becomes a lot more difficult to block in combat because Double Strike plus Death Touch equals, well, painful for our opponent's creatures. We hit first and we just need 1 point of damage to kill each one. And if they don't block and we get through, that combat damage trigger making them lose half their life happens twice. So yeah, a player can go down to almost no life in absolutely no time with this. But next up, of course, we can get a lot of value as well out of extra combat spells like Relentless Assault. It says untap all creatures that attack this turn after this main phase, additional combat phase, followed by additional main phase. Now, depending on the direction that we take this deck, this could help us out in different ways. One way might be to go Voltron with this commander with things like Blackblade Reforged. It's going to get +1/+1 for each land we control, so yeah, that's going to add up throughout the game. So if we make our adorable Monkey Pirate Commander into a killing machine, hitting twice on a turn can be game ending. We could also go for a go-wide token strategy with this kind of a deck and really make use of cards like Hanwar Garrison. It has, when it attacks, put 2 1/1 red human creature tokens onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. So getting an extra combat would give us even more tokens. But then we could also pick a completely different strategy where we focus on stealing our opponent's things, because beating your opponents with their own cards is pretty funny. So on top of our commander, we could have other things help us out with that, with Breaches, Stolen Strategy, and Atali. Breaches is also a pirate, but it's a cute little goblin pirate. It has Menace, and whenever 1 or more pirates you control deal damage to your opponents, exile the top card of each of those opponents' libraries. You may play those cards this turn, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. So somewhat similar to our commander, but it counts all of our pirates, including this one, and also gives us access to 1 of each of our opponent's cards. Speaking of which, there's Stolen Strategy, which says at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of each opponent's library. Until end of turn, you may cast non-land cards from among the exiled cards, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. So yeah, this one is automatic and doesn't rely on combat. Now, one that does rely on combat but can be even more powerful is Atali Primal Storm. Because whenever Atali attacks, we exile the top card of each player's library and we can cast any number of spells from among those cards without paying their mana costs. So we steal things and we get to cast them for free. Stealing things and not paying for things seems like a very pirate way of doing things. So our Monkey Pirate Commander has got to be happy about that. And I apologize for saying Monkey Pirate like 80 times in this episode, but I am definitely not gonna stop. Regardless, another direction that you might want to take this deck is a completely different one, and one that's a little more off the wall, because you could lean into your commander's ability to dash. So you could consider cards like Coercive Recruiter, Skyfire Phoenix, and Flamekin Herald. Coercive Recruiter says whenever it or another pirate enters the battlefield under your control, gain control of target creature until end of turn, untap that creature until end of turn, it gains haste and becomes a pirate initiative to other types. So again, when you dash your commander out, it comes into play, this triggers, and then yeah, your commander is going to come back at the end of your turn. So then next turn you do that, and then the turn after that, and you just keep stealing your opponent's things. Now with the low mana cost of your commander, even if you're not planning on dashing quite that often, Coercive Recruiter can still be good in that kind of a deck. And another one that you might want to consider as well is Skyfire Phoenix. It's a 3/3 Phoenix with flying and haste, and when you cast your commander, return it from your graveyard to the battlefield. So again, getting this back out is quite easy, especially if you're dashing your commander. But a pretty off-the-wall card that you also might want to consider is Flamekin Herald. It says commander spells you cast have cascade. So basically, when you cast your commander, you're going to exile cards from the top of your library and to exile a non-land card with lesser mana cost. So in this case, that would be a 0 mana card. You can then cast that card without paying its mana cost and put the exile cards on the bottom of your library in a random order. So yeah, you would probably need a decent amount of 0 mana cards in the deck to make this worth it. So if you've got a ton of money lying around and you just want to throw that at a mana crypt, go for it. Mana Crypt is a 0 mana, overpowered, hyper-efficient mana rock that taps for 2. And sometimes it occasionally does some damage to you, but whatever, it's commander, you've got 40 life. There's a reason this card is $100 and whatever dollars. Okay, and saying that made me go look it up, and it's 145, and oh my goodness. Okay, let's keep going. To a much less expensive card with Lotus Bloom. It has Suspend for 0, and it has tap sacrifice Lotus Bloom at 3 mana of any one color. So this is essentially a suspended black Lotus, but again, it has no mana cost, therefore its mana cost is 0. I mean, at least for cascade purposes. And then there's Wheel Fate, which also has no mana cost, but it does have Suspend 4 for 1 in a red, and it says each player discards their hand, then draws 7 cards. Again, I'm not saying it's a likely build that's going to take advantage of Flamekin Herald, but you know, you could if you really want to. Regardless, now let's talk about decks that really want this Monkey Pirate, and of course the very first one is a commander that I already brought up on this episode with Sabira. Like I mentioned before, Sabira likes low-to-the-ground creatures, getting them through and discarding hands and drawing a bunch of cards because of that. So yeah, Monkey Pirate fits right in. And next up, let's talk about yet another commander that I mentioned earlier with Breaches, but now Breaches is joined by Malcolm. And actually, the Monkey Pirate is kind of like a combination of these two commanders. Breaches provides you temporary card advantage when your pirates hit players, and Malcolm provides you treasures. So yeah, in a pirate tribal deck built around these two, the Monkey Pirate is going to fit right in. And of course, it's going to fit right in another pirate tribal deck with Admiral Beckett Brass. The Admiral has other pirates you control get ++1, and at the beginning of your end step, gain control of target non-land permanent controlled by a player who has dealt combat damage by 3 or more pirates this turn. And finally, just for flavor, I'm sure you can include Ragavan in a Carry Zev Skyship Raider deck. She's a 1/3 human pirate with First Strike and Menace that has, whenever she attacks, create a legendary 2/1 red monkey creature token named Ragavan that's tapped and attacking. Exile that token at end of combat. So if you want 2 Ragavans in play, congratulations, you can now do that. Regardless, now it's time for me to wrap things up and give you my final thoughts on the Monkey Pirate. Ragavan is a fantastic low-to-the-ground commander that can get you off to a really quick start. You can also take the deck in a lot of different directions, including some really unexpected ones. You can go tall, you can go wide, you can even go dash. Regardless of what direction that you take it, have some fun with this cute but deadly Monkey Pirate. And with that, the show has come to a close, so it's my turn to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know what your thoughts on this episode are, and as always, thank you again, and have a good one.